President Biden, meantime, signed the foreign aid bills totaling some $95 billion into law today. And afterwards, he spoke to reporters, addressed the media, touting the legislation. It was a speech that totaled 1,759 words. But one word was missing from his remarks: TikTok. Lawmakers, by the way, overwhelmingly put a bill on the president's desk, which he also signed today, that forces ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok, to sell within 9 months or face a ban in the United States in a year's time. Now, TikTok says half of the United States, roughly 170 million people all across this country, use its app. Its CEO today took to the platform to essentially say, "See ya in court."
Freedom of expression on TikTok reflects the same American values that make the United States a beacon of freedom. The facts and the Constitution are on our side, and we expect to prevail again.
All right, Jesse Weber, come on in, NewsNation legal contributor. Jesse, what is going to happen next here? Is this headed to the Supreme Court? I mean, you've got overwhelming bipartisan legislation on one side, and then TikTok used by half of the country on the other. Is this headed to the high court?
I can't imagine it won't. But first, the first thing that's going to happen is TikTok is going to ask a court to issue an injunction to stop this from going into effect. And I think they have a really good argument to say if that doesn't happen, there's going to be immediate harm to a number of people, businesses, content creators. But over to the substantive issue, yes, they're going to make the argument that this is a First Amendment violation. Courts generally are not too keen on blanket restrictions on speech. However, Blake, I will tell you, I think the government has a stronger argument here, because this is not necessarily banning TikTok because of the speech on the platform. No, they're banning it because of the conduct of the owner. And the more they can stress national security interests, which we know time and again have trumped First Amendment rights, they might have a winning argument. And let me just tell you this. If ByteDance chooses not to sell the company, does that not in a way reinforce the government's claim that this is owned by China, that never wanted to sell this app in the first place? So I think the government is in a better position to argue this right now than TikTok.
So I called Jesse today, and I said, "Jesse, what are your thoughts on all this?" Jesse's smiling because he knows what I'm about to say. I said, "Jesse, if I give you $10 million if you win the case, which side do you want to be on?" And you know what Jesse did?
Take the government all day long.
He sighed. He went, and then about 10 seconds later, Jesse said, "The government."
Sure.
To Mick's point.
Well, I did that because I thought for a second, does Blake actually have the $10 million to give me? And it made me sad that I don't think that was a real question. That's why I was sad.
But now that I listened to you, it seems like you're even more convinced, and so is Mulvaney, that, by the way, Harvard-trained attorney, that's the winning side, you think?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know if you were going to Mick on that. Yeah, no, I do. Look, the TikTok will raise issues that say, is this really the only option here? Because if they're worried about data security, sure. If TikTok sold, couldn't China get our data in other ways? Yes. But that's why I think you stress a little bit more that it's not just about the data collection. It is about using an app that is so influential and powerful to essentially manipulate the U.S. society, elections, the economy. There's a greater danger here, and I believe that when you look at the history and you look at the case law, it would side for the government here over TikTok. I understand the concerns, and I understand this would affect a number of people's lives, but remember, this is not an outright ban. This is a choice to sell it to another buyer right now. So it doesn't mean it's the end of TikTok tomorrow. It just means that there might be new ownership.
Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.